Hello, in this video we're going to look at how to enter data into R. We're going to be using some data from the example dataset in chapter 3 of the textbook. You can read more about that dataset there. In fact, we're just going to be using 5 data points from the mass of the first task. We're also going to be using code from the help sheet that on entering data into R. And you can see it's got the introduction to this help sheet, but then it's got 2 sections, 2 and 3, section 2 and 3 covering the 2 different routes of entering data into R, the direct data entry and importing data from an external file. And we're going to be looking at both of those. Let's consider first the direct data entry route. So let's get R in front of us, and if you want to know how to make R look like this, look at the introductory video. Then we need to get the code from the data sheet. It's down here. Of course you can write it in, but it's quicker and saves errors if you just copy and paste. There you are, paste it. These are notes, tell us what we're doing, and that we're reminding us to replace the stars with text that's appropriate for this example. So now I have to change that to mass 1, so that's the name of our object, and then I'll put the data in these brackets. And the data we're going to use is 9.03, 12.03, 4.5, 2.5, 1.5. Then what we do is we highlight everything and do Control R. That makes R actually do the work, and we get the result printed out here. This just tells us, this just puts our notes in unchanged and tells us that it repeats this line of code, which so we know that it's acted upon it. If we want to double check and make sure that things are all okay, let's just type the name of the object and run Control R, and then then it prints it out. So what I did there is I had the cursor at the end. I could have highlighted it, but if you've only got one line of code, you don't need to highlight it. You can just put your cursor at the end and Control R, and it prints out the contents of that object. So once you've done that, you can also do things like, for example, take the mean of the data in that object by putting the cursor at the end, Control R, and you've got the mean. So for more code on doing descriptive statistics, look in the help sheet on that, in the video on that. Okay, so let's clear the editor by highlighting everything and pressing delete, and just using edit, delete, clear console, so we back to a blank our editor and our console, ready to look at how to do the second route. Okay, so we're now ready to look at the second way of getting data into R, and the first thing we need to do is get an Excel file in front of us and put the data in that. So give the title, the data, give it a column title mass 1, and then put those data points in, like 903, 12.03, 4.5, 2.5 and 1.5. So then this way you need to consecrate, you need to save that, save as, and the file type here needs to be tab delimited text file. There you go. And well, let's give it a name, task data. Okay, and we'll save it on the desktop. You can save it wherever you like. You just remember where it is. So we don't need to. This is wired because it's changing the format from a standard Excel worksheet. So we don't need to worry about this. So okay there, yes there. And then, in fact, we don't need to keep that up, so we can just close that, and we don't need to save it because we've saved it as a text file we want. Right, so now we need to put the code into R. So let's get our help sheet back and go to the third section, which is about importing data. Get the code we want. So Then we paste that in our editor window. Of course you can type this all in, but it's easier to paste. The hash signs just to note some notes to help us. We technically only need the code. Right, so let's change the stars to the name of the object that we're going to put the data in, tasks, and then we'll ask R to attach column headings as make new objects from each column, and this one is to print those out. Highlight that and Control R to run it. Now navigate to find our file we made earlier, and there you can see it's we've printed out the name of the column heading. If we want to just check things, we can type tasks, the name of the object that we created with all the data in. So because we're just a single line, we can just put our cursor in and do Control R. It's printed that out, and because actually now math 1 is an object within an object, we can actually ask R to just tell us what's in that. Right, 1, Control R, and it'll print that out. And then so we can do various manipulations with either the overall object tasks or the math 1 object. And if it had several variables or in there, so columns of data in there, each with its own heading, it would have made an object out of each of those, and you would have been able to look at the data in those individually as well as overall by typing in the overall object name Control R, or the individual object names in Control R. And that's it. That's how to get data into R, and that's relevant to also the further addition of the later help sheets, and we'll be using pre-prepared or data sheets, data files that you've made yourself, and using this route to get the data in. That's it. Well done.